some of the greatest architects of the last century really were masters of daylight. So if anybody wants to learn about daylight, then they need to look up those guys.
My name is Kathryn Best. I'm an architect, an author and an academic. I've written 5 books on design, which are in 11 languages. The most recent one is about well-being by design, which is about how we can put the well-being of people at the center of how we live our lives, the decisions we make around our communities, and how we actually structure decisions in things like politics, society, governmental systems, but also the buildings we live in. So architecture as a profession is about buildings and spaces, but architecture as a way of thinking is really important in our world. It's a way of organizing your thoughts, organizing how you make decisions, thinking about how to creatively do things, thinking about the process of turning an idea into reality. So for architecture it's buildings, but for me it might be a book. So I think about, how am I going to design a book? How am I going to structure the table of contents? How am I going to bring it together so it connects to the readers, to the people who are going to be learning something from the book or enjoying the book? So architecture is a particular way of thinking that maps together, I guess, the creative and the more structured, more logical way of thinking. We can't always be in free flow in life all the time. Equally, we can't always be overly controlling in life and keep everything terribly organized. It's not very exciting. So architecture is that balance between, I guess, science and art. So a lot of this thinking is very on the lines of what ancient architecture used to do, and sacred architecture, which was about working with, for example, the longest day of the year and the shortest day of the year, and how the light might pop through the building on those days. And for the people at that time, it would appear like it was making magic. But in reality, it was just a very conscious and very designed decision about how to connect with sunlight, daylight, and the interior space of the building. So architects that I like that are good with daylight are Louis Kahn, for example. And Louis Kahn is an American architect who's a master manipulator of form, space, and light. So in some ways he thought about the quality of light and dark, or light and shadow, inside the buildings more than he did about the building itself. It was this interplay about how you bring a space alive that was very important to him. So as an example, he has a building at Yale University, the Center for British Art, that plays with these kind of concepts. Le Corbusier also comes to mind. So an example of that would be Le Corbusier's Ronchamp Cathedral in France, where he has very small but colourful windows in one side of the church, and at different times of day, night, seasons, depending how the light comes through, it will create different effects inside the church, on the walls and on the floor, different colours, different levels of brightness. So it's a lovely interplay of how the outside world can impact the inside of the architectural space. It's thinking about the use of different rooms, where you are, different times of day, how the light comes in, how you want to draw that light in and enjoy being, enjoying the light as it comes in, or blocking it out. And in the UK, it's really about maximizing the amount of daylight coming into your space, and thinking of clever ways to mask light at different times if it is too bright. But daylight's very connected to well-being, because the more daylight you get when you live in a country that hasn't got a lot of daylight, a lot of sunlight I should say, it's important to get the balance right, that you've got enough to make you feel good, you've got enough to do things that you need to do at home, and it's a constant balance about how that actually works.